Hey, Ghost Machine fans, this one's for you.
Welcome to the Ghost Machine Fans Podcast, episode 116. It's time for the world's wealthiest adolescent to join forces with a few other teenagers from the celestial and infernal realms and a family from the future. What sort of crossover shenanigans could possibly lead us to such a smorgasbord of indie comic goodness? I'm Nick, and I'm here to tell you tonight with my better half, Snoggle. My dear, how do you do?
I'm doing great. I feel refreshed, a little hot outside. I'm done with summer.
You're done with summer. Well, this time, a week from today, you will be in sunny San Diego summer.
I'm okay with that because vacation summer is different than working in normal summer.
It's true. We're very excited. It's only a week away when we get to go to San Diego Comic-Con and do lots of fun things. I attended an anime convention for the first time, believe it or not, this past weekend with our 10-year-old son at his request. And now he is raring to go for San Diego Comic-Con. We've got a checklist of stuff that we're going to do related to that. But to kick things off as usual, we have a shout out. And this is somebody we've mentioned once before on the show. And it's prudent to do it again. Although I don't think we've ever mentioned this account. So the account on Instagram is Simon_Pure_1776. And you've heard us talk before about Cameron Gill, who does post a lot of our stuff on our Blue Sky and our X account. I couldn't remember which one was which. So he does those too. He also has a super fun account on Instagram named Simon_Pure_1776, where he posts different things that he'll put together like in a little blurb as Simon with a shot from a comic, and it's usually about something upcoming, and it's a lot of fun. So we just wanted to shout him out. He did another one of those funny ones just a couple of days ago. And if you scroll through the Ghost Machine Fans Instagram, you'll be able to see some super fun examples whenever you see that account there. So make sure to check out his red coat themed content.
That's awesome. Go Cameron.
Go Cameron out there in the UK. But enough about our friends from across the pond, because Snoggle is back in the newsroom.
Today is Wednesday, July 15th, which happens to be the release date for the Rocketfellers number 13, the very issue we are deep diving into today. Also, some really exciting news. This fall, there will be another crossover event entitled Radioactive Revolution, wherein we'll see Geiger crossover with Redcoat. Even more exciting is the cover art contest that Ghost Machine is running related to it. That's right, budding artists will have their chance to submit original work to appear on a real Ghost Machine comic cover. All submissions are due by September 7th.
Yeah, I love it when companies do stuff like that. It reminds me of the classic Top Cow talent hunt, and where they would seek out new artists and sometimes writers. But this is it looks like it's going to be a contest where you can submit art to be on a cover. So definitely check that out if you're in the Ghost Machine newsletter distro. You got an email about that. There's a link for all the details, although I'm sure that if you just give that a Google, it won't be hard to find. And the Radioactive Revolution is a crossover between Tariq and Simon coming later this year. So that'll be nice.
I like that title. Radioactive Revolution.
Yeah, I feel like you could pick some great songs to go along with that. But we're not talking about the world of the unnamed tonight. We're back to the world of the unbelievables. But in order to dive into the Rocketfellers number 13 properly, we must follow our process and give a cover rundown. For if you run on out to your local comic book shop today to pick up this fine comic, you will have some wonderful options.
4 to be exact.
Quattro.
First one, Francis Maniple. What do you think of this one?
I like that it is a team of the 4 teenagers. I guess Sterling is at the bottom, but you're talking about the cover that it looks like it has at the top one of Richie Rockefeller's rocket boots. He's holding on to that. And then Tommy Townsend has his leg, and then Rose has his leg, and Zach has his leg, and Sterling has his wing. And so it's like, the Merrill monkeys hanging off of each other type of deal.
Mhm.
And they're flying up into the sky.
I think they're pretty high up too, because is that like a map of the United States?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that. And then there's like gold bars falling as well. So really cool cover. I think that's a lot of fun. I just like that it's all the kids together. Like the team of kids type of deal. But the V cover is gorgeous. As you may recall, Ghost Machine fans, The Unbelievables is a 4-part event, and Yvonne Hayes put together a 4-part connecting cover for it. And so this is another one of those. It features that cool Rockefellers futuristic suit thing that they have going on as a family. And this still has Roland, in the foreground. So it's nice to see him with his eyeball in his jar.
Maybe that's some delightful foreshadowing.
Some more fun yeah, right. More fun holiday characters all around too. There's Easter Bunny looking, Leprechaun, Evil Witch.
I like the bear that has the button-up shirt on.
Is that like Goldilocks and the Three Bears?
I don't know. It's probably from the island, Dr.
Curious Creatures of Dr. Moreau. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, we'll get to that in literally just a moment. But before we do, the C cover was interesting. A parallel between Richie and Tommy.
Yeah, I like the use of the negative space.
Another one by Francis Portella. He's done several of these now. I really like them. It makes the way that Brad Anderson does the colors really makes them pop. Brad also did the colors on that Yvonne cover, that B cover, and you can't forget that Danny Mickey did the inks on that B cover.
Mm-hmm.
Really like that consistent theme. So if you're a Ghost Machine fan and you get multiple covers because you're really like a completionist like me, you also get some continuity of even that. So like all the Francis Portella negative space covers. They would look cool, all lined up next to each other.
Yeah.
And the fourth one, you really like this one, you said.
I did. When I was reading this the first time, you were, I believe, nearby me, maybe in the kitchen. And I said, ooh, I like that. I like this little crocodile guy.
So it's another retailer incentive, 1 for 20. And it says The Curious Creatures of Dr. Moreau. And it looks like another Francis Maniple character study. And it's a bipedal crocodile, anthropomorphic crocodile. Guy looks like he's got we talked about this in the past when we were talking about one of the previews or maybe the guidebook or one of those. Because he's got the tennis ball at the bottom of his cane and he's holding the newspaper. And it looks like his name is tentatively Seymour.
Yeah, I'm a fan. He's got a cute little face.
I wonder if he's Seymour, AKA Smiley. That'd be a good name for him.
Well, it looks like he's doing the crossword.
It does. Yeah, it does look like he's doing the crossword.
Which is adorable.
So those are the 4 fine covers that are available to you when you go snag your copy of the Rocketfellers number 13 at your local comic book shop, which makes this your official spoiler pause for The Unbelievables Part 3.
Bum, bum, bum.
All right, we're here. Can you believe it? We've made it, and we need another creator roll call.
We've got Peter J. Tomasi on Story and Words, Francis Manipul on Story and Art, our King of Letters back again, Rob Lee, Steve Blackwell, our designer, and Brian Cunningham, our editor.
And we have been rather spoiled lately with the Unbelievables crossover because continuity wise, the last issue was the Hornsby and Halo issue that came before this. Right before that, $1 Trillion Kid #1. So if you're reading along with these and you're experiencing the summer crossover with us, we hope you're having a great time too.
Yeah.
And where we left off literally last week was that Rose and Zach had joined up with Tommy and his National Fun Fest or whatever it's called, Tour of Wonderment and Greatness. And they're going to travel with him and Sterling and help him find his parents because they know that his parents are at least not in heaven or hell or purgatory.
And they're in Olympia, Washington at the Rocketfellers home. I like this second panel because it just looks really cool.
Well, it tells you something interesting about Tommy as well, because they're sitting there, they're taking their time, and then Zach is like, let's go. What are you waiting for? And he says, we're making sure the coordinates are right. And Rose says, that's the 3rd time you've done that. And so Peter Tomasi doesn't put little details in there unless you want to indicate something about a character. So that's something about Tommy being overly thorough, not wanting to be wrong, not wanting to be disappointed, something like that to me.
Mm-hmm. And we got a little bit of this from the prior. We knew there was a birthday party going on, but then we get to see all of the Rockefeller family except for Roland. And even Raina's in the background, just kind of being mopey. She does have a hat on. They just do not look very happy to be having a birthday party.
They don't. And this follows the recent continuity. Like, this isn't that far from them losing Roland.
Mm-hmm.
And I have absolutely no idea what it feels like to be in their position. But I think that I probably would not want to celebrate my birthday if it was within any amount of time if it was near that at all, I don't imagine I'd be able to do that. But Ray, she maintains positivity. Everybody else looks pretty sullen. And as a reminder, Raina, if you remember, she doesn't remember a lot of this stuff.
Yeah. Well, and I do really appreciate Richie's, this is not normal, which is a typical teenager response. Like, why are we all pretending right now? He's just angry. He misses his dad.
He absolutely does. He misses his dad.
I do think it is interesting. Like, he's not wrong because obviously they went to the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he says, everybody keeps acting like a birthday cake fixes his dad not being there. He goes, she hasn't even been born yet.
Right, meaning his mom. His mom hasn't even been born yet. We shouldn't be celebrating anything till dad's back. Yeah.
And punches her birthday cake or something.
So I needed to take a moment. So this is a great Francis Manifold panel, and he does movement in the really cool ways where he makes it like distorted, around the object that's moving. And we're talking Ghost Machine fans. It's after Richie gets upset and Grandpa tries to rationalize, and Richie. I believe that he specifically grabs the candle off the birthday cake.
I do. That is a candle in his hand.
Yes.
You are right, my dear.
And it looks like Rachel's about to start to say, I'm not going to stand for... It's like, stand for what? The kid taking your candle? And
it's almost like no wishes for you, Mom.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I mean, it's very sad, though,
It is sad.
We're all rooting for Roland out here, though. Like, we don't think it's over for him. I do think that Rob Lee picks a great sound for the sound of a candle being ripped off of a cake. SHLKK. I tell you, Ghost Machine fans, sometimes I try to throw in funny sound effects like the knocking at the door but Tommy's coming up, or Rex barking at him a little bit. But I don't know how on the earth I'm going to get you that sound of a candle getting ripped off a birthday cake. We might just have to leave that one where it is. But I love how as soon as it seems we've got company and Grandpa Rodney's looking through the door, he's got a blaster.
Which, by the way, if you're trying not to look like a family from the future, probably don't point a blaster at the people on your front porch. Just saying.
Yes, but without that zapper or ray gun in Grandpa Rodney's hand, we do not get the absolute perfect positioning that is the next page. What I'm talking about here is with the door open, it's a full page spread, single page spread by Francis. It's got Zach, Rose, and Tommy on the left with Sterling behind them, and then the Rocketfellers on the right. And I tell you, man, that is a heck of if you took the speech bubbles out of that, that would be a really cool poster.
Mm-hmm.
And because you can see there's a lot of subtlety. You can see that he is cybernetic leg. You can see the blaster, but then you can see this awkwardness of these hats. And then Raina's still got the cyborg face. Like, there's a lot going on here.
Yeah, there is.
Really detailed, all the way down to the pockets and the buttons and all the things. This is just really, to me, this is one of the best Francis Manifold pages I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's really good. I really like it. I like the color choice too, by the way. As silly as this might sound, there's a teal tie-in at the bottom.
Oh, like the shoes?
Uh-huh.
Like there's a similarity between Tommy and Richie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I dig that. And it's the two of them that are really engaged as they start talking with the family. And it is like, he does make a point that they went to the back door to help maintain like secrecy or whatever.
Well, and it does seem like Richie immediately has a problem with Tommy. You're Tommy Trillionaire Townsend. I've seen you on the news. Tommy's like, that's not my middle name. Rachel immediately protective. There's no need to know my children's names.
Yeah. I feel as though this is a scene where if there were sound, there would be no music, and it would be awkward rain sound, because all we're doing is we're like, there's this back and forth of awkwardness, like it's the Hope and Fun tour. Oh yeah, I saw you on TV. Clearly they don't like you. I don't know where you got that crazy idea. And ultimately it does lead to them saying happy birthday, but they all take off their hats and say, you need to leave immediately.
I do like that the robot says, birthday salutations, Mrs. Smith.
That's right, because they're the Smiths, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And Grandpa's not messing around. He's like, you got 5 seconds to explain why you and this walking, talking combat refrigerator are standing in front of our home. And it doesn't get far until Sterling says that he's detecting chronomatic aberrations within the home that indicate displaced individuals. And he's cross-referencing historical records and uploading. And that's a massive red flag. That's a massive big deal because who knows what the ripple effects of him doing that in the time stream could be, which is why Grandpa appropriately calls on his cyborg killer dog to stop it.
I do feel like I agree with the move, but at the same time, it escalated pretty quickly when maybe some just pure like you were got. They came up and said, we're looking for a family from the future. Like they know.
Sure, but he wants whatever additional compounding problem of, that data of the past being changed or whatever by this robot thing to stop as fast. He wants to stop it before it can be completed.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he makes it escalate so quickly. And I like that even in the panel where it shows Rex zapping Sterling with his like shoulder tentacle blaster things, Grandpa's picking him up. It's kind of funny, like an artillery type of thing. Yeah.
The next page looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Obviously,
really cool.
You got Sterling, Tommy's upset. Both our celestial beings are like, that's crazy. And then the way it shows him like being blasted off the porch, just with the movement and everything, looks really good.
Yeah, you can feel the FRZZAK blast from Rob, and then the KRRNNCH as Francis just draws a super cool panel of Sterling crashing into a bunch of wood, breaking it. And Richie's ready to rock, and I think he identifies Sterling with Tommy, and that's why he places his aggression towards him, because he puts on his rocket boots and starts to fly past everybody.
Yeah.
And Tommy actually tells Sterling to only be on defense, and Sterling says that his defensive parameters are compromised and he has to neutralize potential hostile vectors. I'm assuming that that's his way of like saying he's not going to follow that command. Like he's actually about to waste them.
There was some debate between Rose and Zach if they were going to change. And I love this panel of, Zach, enough of this standing around stuff, and they're changing.
Yeah. Another reminder of how readily they seem to be like they're in control of their powers. They're in control of their powers. They're like,
and then I love how the movement in this, you can tell at the same time that they're changing, Rachel and Ray are seeing this happening. Rachel's like, oh my God. And Ray, look, mommy, a beautiful angel and devil's going to help.
Since she feels so positive about them, that made me feel like, because she has that whole clairvoyant vibe, maybe she knows like their intentions are good or something.
Yeah.
But the battle rages on. There's blasters. There's because Sterling's shooting, Grandpa's shooting. Now the angel and demon are fighting. Rex is on top of Sterling, and everybody's blasting Sterling. It's just, and you can see Tommy though. His reaction to Sterling getting attacked is a very emotional one. It's not just like, "Hey, don't break my robot." You can tell he's having a very emotional reaction to it.
Yeah. Rose drops Richie in the pool, which I gotta say I kind of love. And she's like, I'm just following directions.
And they all come together right outside the pool, and Tommy rushes in front, like to stop it all and say, he's just programmed to keep me safe. He's not here to hurt anybody. And
he's like, none of us are here to hurt you, you fools.
and everybody slows down. We see them separated by the battle line. And Tommy explains that he is looking for something, and he shows them a photograph of his family, of his parents, and Rachel says she remembers them.
And if there just would have been this happened at the beginning, none of that battle would have happened. Which is fine. I mean, I think a lot of the best stories begin with misunderstandings.
Sure, and they're kids. Kids are going to
Yeah.
misjudge the situation more than anybody. But then we get a flashback because Tommy asks Rachel if she knew his parents, hopeful in his eyes. And she's like, no, but we met them once about 6 months ago. And then we get this scene. I like how Francis did I don't know what it was that he did to make it a flashback, but like the definition of the characters is like lighter or something.
It's not as defined.
Yeah.
And the very like muted background.
Yes. Very good word. Muted.
Makes it obvious like we went back.
We did. It's interesting, that distinction, like how we've arrived at that storytelling. Because, that was immediately, it's very, very abundantly clear. Because it's like, well, if it's a memory, it's a little hazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they bump into him at the supermarket. It clearly is
on purpose.
Yeah, they have like a brief back and forth, but ultimately, Mr. Townsend, as it were, Tommy's dad, puts a note in Roland's jacket pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, "You're not as hidden as you believe. Someone is scanning for temporal displacement anomalies, which is how we found you. If you are who we think you are, be careful and don't trust anyone. Whatever you think is unbelievable is believable. We will contact you again."
I think the "we will contact you again" is pretty significant. That means like they intended to get back to them, but something happened in the last 6 months, and that is where the mystery lies.
That also points something else out, which is that Tommy's parents have not been gone particularly long.
No.
So it would be interesting to see, because he did make the better band-aids to save the company. If it's only been like a year and a half or whatever, 2 years since his parents disappeared, then he must have been saving the company and doing that stuff. And they must have been running around and he wasn't sure what they were doing. I would think for a little while, like maybe a couple of years. I'm not sure, because we know that they became very disconnected and obsessed with this.
Mm-hmm.
But their vibe is not like conspiracy theory. Their vibe is like, we must help these people and find them and talk to them and warn them. And, oh, yes, it'll be okay. Like they don't seem like crazy people.
Yeah. But they were sneaky enough to make them not connected to the people that they, quote, bumped into. Because they probably felt like they were being followed as well, which they're missing. So seems pretty plausible.
Good point. And the thing is, much like Tommy, Richie realizes that if they're a real angel and devil from heaven and hell, then maybe they can tell him if his dad is alive or dead.
Mm-hmm.
And then basically there's this, like, he demands that, and they explain what happened in the last issue of Hornsby and Halo, where, he had to take him to purgatory and learn that his parents were alive. But after some debate, they're, and mom's being like, "You're not going to purgatory." They do try it. Like, they're like, "Okay, fine. Like, we'll do it." And it just like randomly in that moment. And so to me, I know that the more emphasis here from our storytellers is more so that they can't make the portal, which tells us about their powers being burnt out a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it also is like they were just ready to just do that. Like, this isn't the time for that. That's not what we need to be doing. And we shouldn't be doing that on a whim anyway. And this helps remind you of an instance where, like, yeah, they're still just kids.
Yeah.
But he does promise Richie, because Richie's like, "What are you saying?" After Zach tells him that they're not going to be able to go. He says, "It's closed to us right now, but I promise we can try again at some future date." And to me, that's like a statement made out of great care.
I agree. And it also shows, like, this is how artwork shows storytelling too, because you can see it on Zach's face.
And there's some cool development for Rose as well, because in the last issue of Hornsby and Halo, we started to see, it's almost like her demeanor is changing with the nurturing. And Raina, and this is one of those things, like, I never thought I'd see Raina talk to Rose Hornsby. So Raina says, "Let me get this straight. One of you is good and one of you is evil." And Rose says, "Just what kind of evil did you see me do? I didn't have to drop the boy in the pool." So there's just some interesting dynamics developing there. I like how they will be a non-conventional angel demon duo.
Yeah. But she couldn't even finish her sentence because Ray's like, "Hi, what's your names?"
And she asks Zach for one of his feathers, which made me think of her birds in a way, And then she says to Rachel, "Look at my pretty angel feather, mommy." So I feel like there will come a time when Ray Rockefeller needs an angel's wing for whatever reason, and that something else will come of that.
Mm-hmm. I do like how our favorite grandpa says, "We've traveled through time. I've made my peace with that. The angels and devils gonna take me a minute."
Yeah, think about everything he's been through and seen, and he just lost his son potentially, and now he's got to deal with this. It's like, man, you put these people through the ringer, Ghost Machine.
I know.
But Sterling makes a good point. He says, "Whoever is tracking unbelievables may have sharpened their focus when they confirm the current temporal anomalies," meaning we got to get it a Dodge. And that's when Richie shows them what he's been building in his room and the tech to do it, that he's starting to put together basically the technology he hopes will allow him to help find his dad. And it's the stuff that came back when Roland like blew up and ported away. This stuff came back, but he didn't, is what Richie says. And they just have this really poetic scene where Tommy says to Richie, "So you can fix the time suit and find your dad?"
One, they're all kind of looking at all the stuff that he has, right? And Richie's explaining, like, "No, these are pieces from our time pod." And he's starting to explain more. Like, "I used some pieces to build a suit, and his mom cuts him off." And, because Raina's right there and Raina still doesn't remember. And I think they're all actually not upset that Raina doesn't have her memory because they were a family before all this crazy murderous stuff happened with Raina.
Yeah. And Richie says to Tommy, "I've been trying to rebuild it, get the chronocapacitor back in shape," talking about this technology.
Mm-hmm.
And Tommy says, "So you can fix the time suit and find your dad?" And Richie says, "If I stop trying, then he's really gone."
Yeah.
That's steep.
And then, this is where Tommy and Richie they do have stuff in common, not wholly because Richie has his mom, but Tommy said, "My parents vanished too, and that's why you can never stop." This is when things get dicey.
Well,
Sterling scans the system, right?
Well, Sterling scans at first to assist, determines the damage is extensive, but that reconstruction while difficult, is possible. And then Tommy and Richie have a moment where it seems like they're going to vibe a little bit. And then Sterling starts in all caps, unknown signal detected, non-native software architecture present within scanned debris. The damage appears intentional. Something is concealed in the wreckage, meaning somebody sent something back. And they're like, oh, we got to shut this thing down, Who knows what's going to happen? But it is starting to make Sterling behave in an irregular manner. And he's doing things that Tommy did not give him a directive to do.
Upload in progress. Uploading what? War plans. That's not good.
Yeah, not good at all. And then they dogpile him. Raina, Zach, Rose, everybody. And then a couple of them, try to knock him over. And Tommy is even like, Sterling, it's me. And even that doesn't seem to really stop it. Richie thinks he picked up a virus from their time that was in the tech.
Yep.
He says, finally, replication protocol complete, and then he flies away.
Yeah, not good. And even, Rodney said, nothing good, kid. That robot war Richie's talking about, I fought in it. It looks like the future is happening now. Oh.
Yeah, so that makes you wonder, did something that happened in the future happen earlier as a result of this, temporal displacement event? That is this unbelievable crossover.
Yeah. But to be concluded in $1 Trillion Kid number 2.
Number 2. Really enjoyed that issue of The Unbelievables crossover part 3. I'm really curious to see how it concludes, but I'm also very excited to start seeing some more of these new unbelievable characters. And the back of this issue did have a new comic book shop spotlight on Carol and John's comic book shop in Cleveland, Ohio, giving some love to Ohio. Woo-hoo! And there's another new Machine Heads fan on there, Drew Van Hust. Looks like he's a high school social studies teacher and a comic book reader. And there's a good Ghost Grams in there too, just asking if there's going to be more guidebooks coming in the future. So make sure to check that out in your copy of this issue. And to conclude this episode of the Ghost Machine Fans podcast, we have a listener mail that is essentially a comment and a kindness. Would you like to read it, Snoggle?
Yeah. It's a fantastic mail, but of course I would.
Oh, yeah. Yep, you're right.
So from longtime listener, Josh K., he says, hey, brother, I have a question for you. I am trying to make space on my shelves, so I'm getting rid of stuff I don't want. With these excellent Ghost Machine Deluxe hardcovers outclassing the trade paperbacks, I was planning on getting rid of the TPB trade paperbacks. Originally, I was going to sell them, only then I remembered there's a certain podcast that I enjoy listening to. Would you be interested in taking them to give away in a contest? I'd rather know that they're going to some place that they will be loved. They'd be free of charge, of course.
Wow, that's a cool, fantastic mail. What do you think of that, Snoggle?
I don't know, brother. What do you think of it?
Nothing wrong with a good brother.
I know. I jokingly have said that to our son. I've been like, brother. And he's like, stop calling me brother.
Yeah, it's that trendy thing now. I don't even understand it. So that is an awesome message.
It's amazing.
And Josh is actually a Cincinnati native, and he is someone who I have not met in person, but he is a Cincinnati native, and he listens to the podcast at work quite a bit, and I really appreciate that on all the support. And this is a super cool thing to do, right? Because everything that we do is to grow and encourage this community to interact more and to tell more people about this new property that we're really enjoying so much.
Mm-hmm.
All 4 of these new properties, I should say, because it's 4 universes. And doing something like this is a perfect way to do that. I'll give you a perfect example. Whenever I go to an Ollie's, there are like 4 to 5 copies of Junkyard Joe Volume 1, the collected edition. I'll buy 1 or 2 because I always want to be able to give some away, but I want somebody to be able to also stumble upon it at Ollie's, one of the greatest places to buy discounted collected editions of comic books in the Midwestern United States. And so that's because it's the type of thing that even though we are so enthused, we are so excited, we devote so much time to this, it's in its infancy and everybody needs to know. And this is the perfect time to jump on. So somebody who gets the beautiful deluxe hardcovers and puts them on their shelf, deciding to spread the love, give their trade paperbacks to a new Ghost Machine fan. I am happy to facilitate that mission, Joshua. We will be putting those trades on our Ghost Machine fans' Instagram and be giving them away in our usual fashion. We can't tell you how much we appreciate that, Josh, and keep on trucking. And if you'd like to check out all of our other content, you can do so by visiting www.ghostmachinefans.com, where you'll find our wiki and our social platforms. And if you'd like to join the conversation on Discord, you can find the invite in our profile on Instagram, Ghost Machine Fans, or on the announcements on the Ghost Machine Comics Reddit.
And thanks so much for joining us tonight on the Ghost Machine Fans Podcast.
Seymour the Crocodile Podcast.